My name's Slavka, I'm from Alabama, and this channel is about living, traveling, and learning. See you on the road. YouTube, good morning, good morning. We're in the beautiful Bozeman, well, actually we're not in Bozeman yet, but we're in, near Billings, Montana, and starting this morning was just a regular walk around pre-trip, just trying to make sure everything's still attached the way it was last night before we shut down. Looking at our truck, load looks to be secured. I always put extra lock to discourage casual theft. So for those of you that are joining me first time, this is my vlog. I keep a record of my trips, just kind of for fun, putting out on YouTube. And yeah, these are fun trekking adventures. So we're gonna do a quick pre-trip with you guys and get going. So we're gonna continue our trip west. If you guys haven't seen previous episode, I'm on the same load, so watch the previous episode, see me pick it up. And the one before that, when we were dealing with problems with brokers. So anyways, as we head west, now it's going to be serious business. We're going to head in the Rocky Mountains. It's going to be several major passes there. Want to make sure that the truck is in a tip-top shape and ready to rock and roll once we get in the big mountains. Oil level good. The tires, steers look good. The brakes look great. I replaced all the brakes last year. I rarely use them. I mostly use Jake's all the time. Been spitting a little bit of coolant out there, high pressure. This is an overflow hose. I replaced this one on the road once. It chafed through and burst, but I think I see a little residue there. Spits out a tiny bit when it gets hot. Gonna have to get up there and take a look. But the coolant level is ideal, so there's nothing wrong right now. Yeah, last year got all new brakes, new tires, new shocks everywhere. So the suspension system is in a good shape. APU unit. We're good. It's funny with these APU units, the oil, I've probably put already 1,500 hours on that oil change since last oil change, and it doesn't even look black, which is strange because in diesel engines it's normal for oil to turn black right away almost. All right, guys, I'm gonna get going. As soon as I get my everything set up, I'm gonna start rolling. I'm gonna hit those mountain passes. I don't know if you can see up there in the skyline, there's glaciers up there, so we're heading in that direction. pulled in for Alabama, for inspection. It's going to be level 1.
Turn your lights off. Mind if I still up on your running board?
What's that?
Mind if I still up on your running board?
Sure.
Alright. So I'll have you turn your key off. And I'll have you turn it back on. Where are your ABS lights at on your dash? Do you know?
Yeah, it's like around here.
Alright, perfect. So I'll have you turn them back on. Turn your key back on for me. Perfect. Perfect. Alright. I'll have you pump your brakes till your low air warning comes on. Alright, perfect. Fire extinguisher and triangles. Actually, wait a minute.
It's right here.
Yeah, I'll have you. Alright. Alright, so what I'll have you do actually, instead of doing the triangles, we'll have you pop the hood for me. All your, oh, hang on, before we do that. Well, if you release all your brakes for me, you are chalked, you're not going to go anywhere.
All right.
Alright, so I'm going to go under, I'm going to mark your brakes so I can measure them. So I'll ask you to remain in the truck, don't start the truck, don't put it in gear, don't press the brakes unless I tell you to.
Gotcha.
Alright, do you have any questions for me before I
Nope.
do that? Alright.
So guys, I'm in Missoula, Montana, getting truck serviced. My bearing seal went out yesterday. Spewed grease all over the brakes, and as luck would have it, I'm getting a level 1 DOT inspection on the Butte scale. So, oh man, when I had that sign lit up and it says pull in, bring your paperwork, I knew something was up. And the DOT guy comes out, he's like, sir, we're doing a random level 1 inspection. And that's when I knew that I was fucked.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Ooh, I was hoping to actually deliver this load, and there's a shop down there in near Portland. There's a friend of mine works there. He owns it. Just gonna go there and get taken care of. So, you know, with a DOT inspection, once they start crawling, and level 1 is you know, it's the full comprehensive inspection. It's the type where they check everything, you know, from your lights to your airlines to everything. I mean, it's comprehensive. once they invest their time in crawling under your truck, there's no way, you know, there's no way they're not gonna find anything. So I hate it as stupid as you know, they just write you up for stupid shit like, oh, the airline's chafing, even though it's not, and there's no way you can prove it otherwise. And you know, it's just, it is what it is. They have to have so many violations, and that's the main thing about this stuff, that they just need to report violations, you know, that they do in their work. It is what it is, you know. But anyways, so the trooper, I inspected everything. He's like, I'm putting you out of service. And for those of you not truckers, if you get put out of service, basically you're on that scale in the middle of nowhere. You cannot drive that vehicle. You can leave, you can walk, whatever the hell you want to do. Call the cab, you can stay in the truck, but you cannot drive that truck until it's fixed right then and there in the parking lot. Hence the problem. To get it fixed in the parking lot, you need sometimes, you know, heavy equipment and all that. So you got to call these services that come out, bring all that stuff, and that could take a while. And on top of that, it's super expensive. You know, it's already expensive to fix this. You know, this little fix probably going to be close to $1,000 or so, with just various other stuff that they need to do. But if the guy has to come out, he'll probably not going to have all the parts right away, so he's going to bill you, you know, $150, $200 an hour just to drive around the town, go get lunch, whatever. And it's going to cost so much money. You know, like even if they bring out something simple like a tire, instead of paying like $250 for a tire, you'll pay $600, $700 for that same tire if you're doing it on the roadside. So I was at that point like, I'm fucked. Not only I'm going to be spending the night most likely in the middle of nowhere in some fucking scale in Montana, but I'm going to get robbed basically. It's a highway robbery at that point. So I get back in my truck. Obviously I got the paperwork. I'm out of service. I opened my regulations book, find their CFR chapter 375 paragraph 58, and yes, they can put you out of service for brakes, having grease on the brakes, because what happened was the oil started leaking on the brakes. But it has to be 2 brakes basically on the truck, on the 3-axle truck. It has to be at least 2 to be out of service. I only had 1, and the guy's like, let me call my supervisor. He calls the supervisor, then goes in the computer, and he's like, sir, I'm very sorry, you're right, and he gave me a new sheet. That is just a code violation. So god damn, I just lucked out so much, because getting put out of service is not only it's shitty for a driver, obviously, especially me, owner operator, money wise, but it's gonna fuck my company. That shit goes on the service record for Safer Web. So anybody looks up, how many power units you have in the carrier, how many have been placed out of service last 2 years. I just don't want to add that one more, being me. That's a major fuck up. So I fucking locked out. But that's how trucking is. It's a roll of dice every fucking time, guys. You get on the road, there's nothing, nobody's perfect, nothing's perfect. Your equipment always has some kind of problems, and you're trying to stretch it that 1 extra mile because it's convenience and other things, and sometimes luck is not in your side. How many times I probably passed the scale, never got pulled in, but this time it was just my turn to play the, to pay the piper. So regardless, I kind of got away with it fairly easy. So hopefully the TA here in Missoula will fix me. They're a pretty decent shop. They have a good mechanics here. So I'm confident they can handle that kind of work. So other than that, that's about it. I tried to film the trooper doing inspections, but as I'm making this, that was yesterday. This is next morning. I'm gonna try to I filmed some, but it was mostly just me sitting in a truck waiting for him for about 2 hours to do his thing, and so there's not much to see. I'll probably have some clips in there, but other than that, yeah, adventures in trucking. Yeah, the brakes a shot, and they were brand new basically. Well, the good thing I don't see any grooves on there, at least not overly excessive ones. Yeah. Oh well. That's why I was concerned about the load shifting earlier when I was starting this trip, how they position those pallets. Place like this, doesn't matter how slow much I'm going 5 miles below speed limit here, and trying to take these corners really easy, but it's almost impossible. You know, if the pallet's gonna shift, it's gonna shift. Like right now, I'm going 15 miles below speed limit. I could have easily taken this turn 25-30 miles faster, but let's see. Well, hopefully nothing will shift. I'm trying my best to be careful, but there's nothing I can do sometimes, you know. Just the way they package that shit, that could be problematic. On these mountain passes, the turns are really tight, and they up and down, left and right, and then you add some bumps to it. And the pallets, if they're high stacked like that, like the one I have, and they're not supported by anything, they just naturally bounce off left or right. I mean, look at this, guys. We're coming up to like a hairpin turns here, slowing way down. Down. In fact, so slow that I'm afraid some four-wheeler will run in my ass. That's you know, that's what you got to do. I'm trying to protect the load, obviously. That's the #1 priority. Climbing up to the summit. I don't know, I think the altitude here is somewhere around 8,000 feet. We'll see at the top. It's above the snow line. Mind you, down there in Missoula was 72 degrees. And it's slightly above freezing right now. When it snows, this is the area that gets covered totally and completely. Okay, so we're in the summit now. Wow, there was a lot of snow. It still hasn't melted off. Now we're going to be going down. We're in Idaho. Turning the fan off. We don't need it anymore. Just going to ride it down on Jake's. Tight turns. Trying to not use service brake at all. Possible with me. careful management of Jake's, you won't have to touch the service brakes. You can, in fact, go 500,000 miles without ever wearing half of your brake shoes. If you do it right. All you gotta do is just manage that throttle of Jake's. I've seen FedEx trucks down here smoke their brakes. By the time they get to the bottom, there's just smoke pouring out of every freaking axle they have. It's scary shit, because you know that guy has no control at that point. He's just hoping the hill's gonna be over, and it takes a while to be over. Plus with these turns, once you overheat them, there's no coming back from this. In this section right here, there's no runaway truck ramps either. So once you start going really fast, you kiss your ass goodbye, either going off the cliff or into it. There's a drop there, 500-600 feet down in the valley, with a steep incline and a river at the bottom. Also making sure I don't over rev the engine on the Jakes. You can easily damage your engine if it spins up too fast because of Jake brakes. So you gotta pay attention to all that shit at the same time. Yeah, that's the first runaway truck ramp right now. I bet you if you smoked your brakes by now, it ain't gonna help. You're not gonna make a mile down. All these kind of turns. What's commonly, I've been here so many times, and right now it's like not a lot of trucks. But what ends up happening, there's a bunch of trucks, and you get some Volvo jockey in an automatic transmission, flip-flops on, you know, with all their first year trucking. He's all, oh, you slow, you know, I'm gonna go around you. Gets to about halfway down, the guy's smoking his brakes, freaking out, you know. It's just terrible what they do to these trucks. I don't know. These trucks do not drive like cars at all. Like when it comes down to weight and terrain and everything, it's a completely different ballgame. You may have a steering wheel and, you know, wheels and all, but the dynamics are a lot different. Just the sheer physics of 80,000 pound vehicle when loaded, going down 6-7% grade, that's a lot of force. That's a lot of potential energy turning into kinetic, and it needs to be dissipated over the distance of that hill. So it's either going to be heat on your brakes, or it's going to be Jake brakes compressing air and pumping it out. You can't run out of Jake brakes. Jake brakes they never fade. They just work. If you get the right gear right over, and you manage it correctly, you'll never fail with that. With a service brake, they just overheat. You only have maybe 45 seconds before they're completely gone. So when you use them, you gotta use short pulses, maybe 5-6 seconds of steady service brake to slow you down 5-6 miles per hour, maybe to help the Jakes, not to sit on it. Because the worst thing you can do is just lightly hold the brakes. That's when they overheat. Spokane, Washington. There it is, downtown. I've never been to downtown. I've been around suburbs and all that, picked up loads, stayed at the truck stops for a number of days. Pretty big city by you know, Eastern Washington standards, considering there's not much here at all. It's probably the only large city on the eastern side of the Washington. We're going to go through this large hill and we're going to be outside of city limits. You're going to see Columbia River right behind the turn. It's down in the valley. It's quite picturesque. Columbia River. Build up speed so I have the best chance of getting momentum up. It's not that it's going to help much, but the climb's going to be long, like many miles. But anyways, we'll do our best. And there it goes. See those mountains up ahead, coated in clouds? That's the start of a North American Cascade Mountain Range. The West Coast highest mountain range in North America. A series of volcanoes, active volcanoes. Very picturesque area. We're going to go all the way up and across. And on the other side is Seattle. Got less than 80 miles to Seattle now. It's gonna be a series of climbs. We're gonna go over the Sasquatchie. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but that's the pass there, the highest elevation, I believe, 8,000 some feet on the road there. Now we're gonna go down towards Seattle. We're still on the western side of a Cascade Peaks, but it's most likely, it's sunny out here. It's most likely going to be cloudy and rainy on the other side. And just from the looks of it, it's always like that. I'm hopeful it's not going to snow up on top. I've seen snow there in June, so it, you know, the time of the year doesn't matter. It's always something. about another 18 miles from here. We're in North Bend, Washington. Alrighty, dighty-do. We're where we need to be. Funny thing is, 2 months ago, or actually 3 almost, that's where I started my vlog. Right in this parking lot. If you watch episode 1, this is where I did my intro video. You know, hi, my name's Slavka Alabamka. I'm from Alabama, blah blah blah. That was recorded right down there. But yeah, it's interesting. I come here quite frequently. I mean, this is one of our major destinations. You know, we usually pick up the load somewhere out east and end up in the northwest in the Seattle area, and then usually bounce down to California and then pick up the load going east. Make the circuit like this. It's almost, you know, I'm here at least once or twice a month sometimes. Depends how loads stack up, but at least once a month if I'm on the road.